Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So today I have another KA signature figure. This one's an older one. This is the ORX-013 Gundam Mk-V, Marking Plus version in the KA signature line of Robot Spirits. So the Gundam Mk-V got its figure debut in the KA signature line in these colors. This is the new Decides colors. And it was re-released in the Earth Federation colors, which I have a review on and I'll link it below. A couple years later, we got it again in this Marking Plus version. So the Gundam Mk-V, you'll notice, has all of the markings on it that are usually included in a sticker sheet, but this time around are already on the figure. And it also has some sculpt updates, which I'll go over. We'll do some comparisons with the Earth Federation colors Gundam Mk-V, which sports the original sculpt, so you can see the difference. And you know, it's an update, essentially, is what it is. They've done it a few times more recently. They've done it with the Nero and the lunar landing type, but it's an interesting update. I wanted to get this figure firstly so that I have the better version of the Gundam Mk-V, but also so I can do a comparison with the Earth Federation colors that never got a Marking Plus version. So let's go ahead and take a look at the figure and see what comes in the box. So the Gundam Mk-V comes from the Gundam Sentinel photo novel and manga, and I really like the design. It's actually the bad guy in the photo novel. It fights the S Gundam and XS Gundam. And it's a really interesting design. It kind of holds that the Sentinel feeling of like a giant mobile suit that towers over everything else, and that's a lot of what I went over in the Gundam Mk-V review for the Earth Federation colors. Now this one, I mean, just looking at it, you can see there's some pretty crazy detail in the paint applications, mainly in the gold parts. You know, you can see in here the little lines on the antennas, all of the markings. I mean, the figure is just, it's got quite a bit on it. The eyes look a lot better. I know the shadow kind of makes them hard to see, but you just see all the detail in there. It looks really, really nice just on every single part of it. And that's kind of going to be what the focus is in this review. Not necessarily the accessories and things, but mainly the paint applications and the sculpt differences. So I'm going to go over the accessories fairly quickly, aside from looking at the paint aspect of it. You know, we can go over articulation real quick. For the most part, you see these thrusters move. This one inside here moves. The feet have 3 different moving points as well as an ankle joint. The arms have pretty standard articulation. You do have a hard point for the shield, and the head moves around quite well. It looks like it moves around better than the original Gundam Mk-V figure. So the big difference here is going to be the chest and the head, are what the main changes are. But let's go ahead and put some of the accessories on here real quick. So we'll do the missile pods here first. So these are the same exact sculpt as what was on the original figure, but you can see they've been updated with the paint, which is going to be a central theme here. So we're going to go ahead and plug these in really quickly. And then we also have the beam sabers, which double as beam guns, and you can see really nice gold on them. They look really, really good. Now, for these, we need the backpack here. So this is again the same one that comes with the other figure. You have the storage points for the remote weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and plug these in here, right like that. And speaking of the remote weapons, So we have these incoms, which it actually says incom on there, and it plugs in the same manner as before. We'll go ahead and pop both of them on real quick, and they fold right up. And the backpack's going to connect to the back right like so. So it's a really neat looking figure, and we're going to go over some of the accessories here. Like I said, we'll go over them quickly, and we'll do a big comparison with the other figure that I have so you can see the main differences. So let's take a look at what we get here. We get the same assortment of hands. We have the beam saber hands, which include the peg, because the beam sabers are huge. And the hands are really nice. You know, they look glossy now. And I mean, otherwise the paint's really good, but you can see there's a bit of a gloss to them as I drop them. We also have some posing hands. And of course the figure already has fists. And then finally, gun hands. So a pretty standard assortment. And you have the stand piece, which is pretty standard on the K signature figures. Now getting into the weaponry, some of it is underneath here. So we have the incoms that are deployed. You get two of these. These are the exact same as the ones that are included in the other Gundam Mk-V figure, and they plug in the exact same way. Again, if you want to see these in more detail, you can take a look at that review. You also get 6 of the little remote incom pieces, if I can get them out of the packaging here. See if I can do it off camera. See if I can get one of them out. I really want to stay in there. This packaging is really long, so you have to kind of drag each one out. So these are the pieces when the incoms change direction. These notate the direction change. So when the incom comes back to the mobile suit, it comes to this, and then to the next one, to the next one, until it's at the mobile suit. This looks like the exact same piece. I don't really see any difference in paint. Finally, in this packaging, and you get 6 of them, again, just like the original figure. Then we have the beam saber, which again is the same. You do still have the nub mark there. So we'll go ahead and grab one of the beam sabers off of here. And it'll go right like that. So quite large. You know, with the mobile suit standing, the beam saber is taller, just by a hair, taller than the beam saber in the back here. That's it, side by side. So pretty large weapon. And again, the handle here just looks amazing. And, you know, the paint detail really makes it pop. So I'm really happy with that. And we also get the shield booster, which looks much better now. You have the gold, the really vibrant green, as well as all the markings that are on here, the different colored blues. You know, this marking here. Even the underside is painted. And so you have the handle piece, which attaches in a couple different ways, and attaches both to the arm and the backpack. Again, to see the form and function in more detail, you can check out the other Gundam Mk-V review. But this is what it looks like. It looks really good. And finally here, you have the rifle. Now the other Gundam Mk-V that I reviewed had 2 rifles. This one you just get this one. And it looks really good. You have the metallic paint here, as well as all the greens and the markings, the wrap around the barrel. And it's a neat looking rifle. I mean, I really like it. And you even have the cables in here are painted a different color, which kind of helps that to pop. So we'll do a comparison on everything. Let's take a look at the figures though. So here are the Gundam Mk-V twins, and you can see right off the bat that the new Decides Gundam Mk-V looks a lot better, and it's because of the paint. But there are some sculpt differences between the two. We'll bring him a little closer here. So most notably the chest has these fins on this version, the newer version, which are absent here, as well as these back pieces where the gold is. They're not sculpted in up here. And you're going to find that there's a lot of differences like that throughout a lot of the larger pieces. So the shoulders, for example, there's a sculpted piece up here that's absent on my figure over on this side. The front skirt armor, these little gold pieces, as well as all this, it's plain. The hip armor, same thing. The legs, I believe, you know, these gold pieces on the sides of the legs. On here, you know, there's nothing there. So they made some really minor sculpt changes. I mean, and they are really minor. I mean, unless you're comparing them side by side, you probably wouldn't notice. The arms are actually a new sculpt, at least this piece. You can see that these blocks are a little bulkier than on the original figure. So while the head and chest are changed quite a bit, you can see that there's lots of other changes here. So that's the shield booster. Now the shield booster, I believe, is a paint-only change. I don't see any sculpt change. And then when you get back here to the backpacks, the backpack actually looks the same as well. Yeah, and same with the beam sabers. It looks like it's the same basic thing. This piece has been changed slightly, so you can see there's a sculpted in piece there, which is absent on this side. Now with the rifle, I believe the rifle is another paint-only change. So they do look pretty much identical, but the new Decides Gundam, the Marking Plus version, is much more detailed. So let's take a closer look at the head real quick. Let me get these guys a little closer here. Okay, so I very carefully tore the heads off of my figures without breaking the antennas, which, by the way, if you do this, be extremely careful with that because they will break. But I did it so that I could do a comparison here. So one thing that's really notable to me is the original sculpt cannot really see forward based on this big block piece right here. I mean, it looks nice on the side profile, but it makes no sense doing this. I mean, I know you have two front cameras here, but what is the point of the eyes? Now that was all fixed with this new head sculpt. You can see the eyes in there. I know the shadow makes it difficult. It has a much better side profile, much cleaner. I'm trying to do it so my fingers aren't in the way. And it looks really, really good. Now it keeps a lot of the same detail. So we'll look at the back here, and the back's very, very similar. Not a whole lot has changed. But it's mainly this, so this inside piece, you know, the head is made up of multiple parts, and this top piece and then this faceplate piece are the main changes. It looks like they changed this little side piece here, added some detail. But I mean, the face just looks much better. I'm trying to get it as close as I can and still be in focus. I mean, even aside from the paint details, you know, you can see that this face is almost, when compared, it's almost comical how off it is. But it just looks a lot better. So now I'm going to try and put the heads back on without breaking anything. So hopefully I won't finish this video off with, well, I broke it. But we'll get that back on and continue the review. I'm really happy that the Gundam Sentinel photo novel has been getting a lot of love from this KA Signature line. You know, it was a really interesting storyline and had a lot of really neat mobile suits that came out of it. So for this 2017 release, to update the Gundam Mk-V in a very positive way is really welcoming. I mean, and it's not to say that the original figure was bad. You know, I really like my Earth Federation colors Gundam Mk-V. I made a similar comment with the Nero. You know, I like my Nero trainer type, but you know, the updated version of the Nero makes the Nero trainer type look really plain, and it's really the same thing here. The blue coloring that they used on this one looks a lot nicer. The paint details are just amazing, and the improved head and chest sculpt are well needed, the head especially. This one fetches the highest price of the 3 Gundam Mk-Vs in the KA Signature line. Obviously it was also the most expensive one to come out originally, so I got this one for 15,000 yen, which I found was a fair price and definitely worth it. I don't regret that in any way, shape, or form. It comes with all the accessories it needs, and again, if you want to see more detail on the accessories, you can check out my other Gundam Mk-V review below. But if you have the opportunity to get this, and it's something you can afford and something that, you know, if you're looking at getting a Gundam Mk-V, absolutely get this one. If you're going to get one of the 3, this is the one to buy. I mean, it's just a gorgeous looking figure. It's a great display piece, and you don't have to mess with the sticker sheet because it's all already on there. So thank you for watching the review, and thank you all for your support, and I will see you next time.